Welcome! If you've never seen the after effects of a tree having swallowed a fish, well, that makes two of us. In this video I'm woodturning a segmented herringbone pattern, which I believe may be the first ever, but if you know of one, please let me know. And as wonderful as it would be to find such a piece of wood in nature, alas, I'm going to have to make it from scratch. So please watch through to the end and tell me what you think of the final piece in the comments below. Was it worth the headache and the test of patience? I'm using walnut and oak veneer in alternating layers, given that I had quite a bit of veneer left over from a previous project with the wave bowl. If you haven't seen that project, you can click on the link in the top right of your screen. Each layer is epoxy resin glued together. Of course, you can do this with ordinary wood glue, but I also had quite a bit of this resin left that I needed to use up. Plus it has a longer working time than wood glue, so I can at least make some adjustments if necessary. I'm applying the resin to the veneer strips on top of plywood with sellotape coating. I think in the US you would just call it packing tape. This will make it easier to remove the stack of veneers after the resin has cured. Whilst I'm doing that, this will be a great time for me to say a big thank you to all those that have subscribed to this channel over the past year, having now reached the 10,000 subscriber mark. I really appreciate the interaction through the comments and the ideas that you've shared with me. Right, the veneer stack is compressed as flat as possible and then left to cure, just hoping that the layers will be parallel throughout. And after curing, a quick tap, and then it's on with the turning. For the herringbone pattern, I need to cut the pieces at 45 degrees in thin slices, so I'm going to true up the edges and then head to the bandsaw. You can see that the blade is drifting, and it left me with a shallow curve in many of the pieces. I didn't realise how much this would affect the project until I started turning it, and I made quite a mistake in choosing the log to go with the herringbone as well. You'll see this later. Anyway, it was a long glue up process, starting with pairs, then quadruplets, then octuplets, and then just jamming it all together. I wanted to wait until the glue was dried before the next stages, and at this point I started thinking about how the final project should look. The herringbone pattern, as nice as it is, just didn't feel as though it was captivating enough for this project, and I hadn't actually worked out all the parameters for making segments with such a pattern, and I wanted this to be continuous around the circumference of the final piece. Then it started dawning on me as to whether I actually had sufficient material to complete the project. I cut the piece into two and then glued them end to end, thus extending the amount of material. I cut this piece into two halves and then stacked them on top of each other, whilst offsetting the stacking arrangement in order to get the diamond pattern with a herringbone pattern surrounding it. At this point, the herringbone pattern comprised of around 4,000 pieces. Now it took a couple of hours over quite a few days to make it, but at least I can get on with the next headache. The next step was critical, and I'm glad I did a dry fit. I needed to ensure that the herringbone pattern was retained within the wedges as they were cut. Hence, using the test wedges in order to make sure everything fit perfectly. The idea was to cut 16 wedges with sufficient depth in order to ensure that the ring could true up if I got the alignment with the log slightly wrong. I had to make sure that the pattern was perfectly matched at the ends of each wedge, then cut the wedge, then go back to truing up that pattern again, and go on repeating this step for 16 pieces. Right, this is the first time I've actually done a standard segmented ring. The other segmented wood turning I've done so far was a helix, and you can click on that link to watch it. And now I haven't yet come across anyone crazy enough to repeat that particular endeavour, but I'm hoping someone will try this herringbone segmented wood turning and then do it better than I did. I'm using a few elastic bands to apply external pressure, then keep these segments in place. On top of that, I'm just sandwiching the whole structure, compressing it to ensure that it lays flat. And as you can see, the pattern looks fairly continuous. Now for the log. I found a piece of ash which had a little woodworm in the bark, at least it did have, but underneath it was actually really good condition, apart from the fact that I didn't check how deep the cracks were in the top section, and this came back to really affect the piece. I wanted to do this from a log and probably should have turned it to the size of the herringbone ring first. Then I would have at least seen some of the issues before I actually started gluing the whole thing together. Anyway, it's all a learning curve. Finally, onto the wood turning. It was fairly straightforward, following a similar procedure I've used for many other projects. I created the tenon, then shaped the base, mounted that into a chuck, and then decided on what kind of shape I was going to have for the final piece. Now, if I had turned the log into a cylinder first, I'd at least reduce the chances of misaligning the ring between the two halves. But as it happened, the pattern wasn't greatly affected in the end. Now, ash is a really easy wood to wood turn. The only thing I'd say, if you're doing it for the first time, is you must exercise great patience when it comes to sanding. It takes a lot of time to get it super smooth. Right, the other problem that I hadn't spotted was the fact that there was a big spot, which actually put me on the spot as to what to do. Now I want to stop talking about spots because it actually reminds me of acne, but there's no pimple way to do it. Alas, there it was. I hadn't seen the branch point from the outside of the log, and it somewhat does detract from the aesthetics. Combine that with the splits at the top, well, this piece isn't going to be one for sale. But hopefully you get the idea of the herringbone segmented wood turning. The system was sanded to 240 grit, sealed, and then sanded again till about 400 grit. We applied the Yorkshire grit, and then I did put on some polishing wax before I put the tape around the pattern for the steady rest. This just helped avoid any damage to the base surface. Now, hollowing out was more challenging than usual. I don't think I've ever made such a narrow and tall piece like this before, so it was a bit of a stretch for the tools, and I'm not sure I did it justice. On the inside, you can see how the continuous nature of the pattern is broken between the wedge sections. And the only way to deal with this is to keep the walls thick, or actually to go thinner until the pattern reestablishes itself again. I suppose one could model this in 3D and determine all the parameters needed. But then again, who's really going to spend too much time looking inside? Because of the cracks at the top, I didn't want to use the remounting jaws and risk the chance of splitting it. Instead, I cut the base, then sanded, sealed and polished it to match the rest. I really love the grain of the ash, and perhaps it is distracting somewhat from the herringbone pattern. You know, the splits and the big spot notwithstanding, I think the herringbone segmented wood turning actually looks really good. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Of course, there are minor discrepancies within that herringbone pattern, so I think this is a great challenge to extend to others to do it better. Well, thank you so much for watching. It would be great if you could hit that like button for the video, maybe even subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification. I hope to catch you next time, so take care.